The language shifts which are being predicted these days do not only involve the shifting of the center of English language to the outer and expanding circle countries from the inner circle countries, but also the complete displacement of English language from its current position of authority. It is also being predicted that English will lose its role as an international language and will probably have to share this role with some other language. In this module, we'll talk about how this is likely to happen. So we've just discussed that English may lose its role as an international language. It may not continue working as an international lingua franca, and some other language may replace English, one language or more than one languages. So English may be completely displaced, or English may continue working as an international role, but also there may be other languages which will be performing the same role, which will have the same importance and authority. So English may have to share this position of authority with another language or more than one languages. Now, what is likely to cause English language to lose its power? There are different reasons given. One of the factors which may cause this loss of power by the English language is the abandoning of English language by non-native English speakers of the language. So the learners of English, the non-native speakers of English, they may give up English and turn to some other language. Now, what is likely to cause the English language learners or the L2 speakers of English who in the present day are so keen to learn and use English? What is likely to cause them to lose their interest in English? Again, one reason which is given is the difficulties inherent to English language, that it is difficult to learn English compared to other languages. The other reason which is given is the likely emergence of some other language as the world language. Talking about the difficulties inherent to English language, there have been many research findings which prove that English is the hardest language for the children to learn. And what causes this difficulty, what makes English language so hard to learn? There are different reasons, there are different aspects of the language which are considered responsible for causing this difficulty in learning English language. These involve aspects of orthography, phonology, and grammar. So there are different aspects of phonology, orthography, grammar, which make it difficult for children to learn this language. Let me give you an example. Can you pronounce this word? What do you think this word is? It looks like goatee, but if we go by the match between the spelling and pronunciation of different English words and sounds, this word actually is fish. How? Let's take a look at these sounds and spellings. GH, the combination of these two letters, GH, often gives the sound fur, as in the word tough. Similarly, O sometimes gives the sound of an E sound, as in the word women. TI sometimes gives the sound sh, as in initiate. So this is, if you go by the spellings and the pronunciations of different combination of letters, it is the word fish. And this question was posed by George Bernard Shaw in his preface to his famous play Pygmalion. You may be familiar with the play Pygmalion. A very famous film was also based on this play, My Fair Lady, If you haven't seen it, you must immediately see it. So Shaw had predicted many years ago that because of this mismatch between English pronunciation and spelling, learners find it very difficult to learn. Let's take a look at some difficulties that learners face in terms of orthography. There are different ways of pronouncing this EA sequence. For example, in some words it is pronounced as bead, in others, for example, head, then we have bear, we have fear, and we also have pearl. So it is the same sequence EA, which is pronounced in different ways in different words. Similarly, this OUH sequence is also pronounced differently in different words. So we have words like cuff, bow, do, through, and thorough. So in all these words, the same sequence of letters is pronounced differently. And not only that, the difficulties are confounded by the fact that we have certain silent letters in English. For example, P in psychology is not pronounced, P in pneumonia is not pronounced, K in knife is not pronounced. Similarly, K in no is not pronounced. We also have silent letters in English at the end of words. For example, the word THUMB, thumb, B is not pronounced. In limb, B is not pronounced again. Similarly, we have climb and bomb. In all these words, the final sound B is not pronounced. We also have silent medial letters. For example, in muscle, C is not pronounced. In fasten, T is not pronounced. In castle, T is not pronounced again. And T is not pronounced in whistle again. So because of this mismatch between the English spelling and the pronunciation, the sounds that different words have, learners find it very difficult to learn English language. In terms of pronunciation, English language has a large number of vowel phonemes, a number larger than many other languages. So it has 20 vowel phonemes. The extensive use of the central vowel sound schwa, the sound that we hear in words like her, about, etc. This schwa sound is also a sound that causes a lot of difficulty and confusion in the English language learners. So a preposition to is never pronounced to. It's always pronounced for example, I'm going to school, I'm going to work. So to is not clearly pronounced. Similarly, it's hardly ever that we completely pronounce a preposition of. We often say one of the things, the friend of my father's, etc. So in many words, the main vowel sound is replaced by the sound schwa. And when it comes to grammar, the difficulties are multiplied manifold. One reason for the difficulties that people have in learning English grammar is the verb form and function relation. For example, one verb form may perform different functions. For example, in English, it is perfectly all right to tell a story about the past using simple present tense. So what happens is that I go to a jungle and I see a lion, and all this is about a story which took place many years ago. Similarly, we teach children that we use present continuous tense to talk about the things or the actions which are taking place at the moment of speaking, but we use the ing present continuous form all the time to talk about future. So this link with time reference, form function, all these things cause a lot of confusion in the English language learners. Then we have another verb which causes a lot of confusion, the modal verbs. For example, may, might, can, could, will, would. All these verbs, again, there is the problem of form and function. Many of these modals are used to express degrees of possibility I may go tomorrow, I might go tomorrow, I can go tomorrow, so on and so forth. But then these verbs also have other functions. For example, you can use may to make a request. May I take your pen? You can also use may to grant permission. You may leave now. Similarly, can be used to express whether you are capable of doing something or not. I can drive, I can speak English, etc. And can is also used to make requests. Can is also used to express degree of possibility. So because of all these factors, grammatical, phonological, orthographic, all these factors, all these aspects of English language make it very difficult for learners to learn English. So even after spending a long time on learning English, we have very few people who can claim to have native live competency in English language. So this can be a great source of discouragement for the learners, and researchers and scholars are therefore predicting that the learners or L2 users of English may give up English language and turn to some other language to be used as an international language.